This is a 1999 Honda Accord with a 3.0 V6. We put some new headlights on this car and we noticed right away after putting on the headlights that at idle the headlights were dimming. So this can only mean one thing: bad alternator. In this video we're going to replace the alternator, and it's nestled in right here. The steps for removing the alternator are not too difficult. First we want to remove these plastic covers on top. Then we want to get in here and loosen up the serpentine belts. Then we want to get this power steering reservoir out of the way. And the alternator is just held with 3 bolts. So it's all pretty simple. Let's get to it. First step, of course, is disconnect the battery negative. That was a 10mm nut on the battery terminal. This pulls right off. So to get the bottom cover off, we do need to remove these spark plug wires. With the spark plug wires off, we have these 2 bolts here and here. That is all out of the way. Now we want to come down here and disconnect the alternator. There's a plastic connector and then there's a mounting stud. And this is what the wiring looks like. There's a 10mm retaining bolt, and then this bundle goes right under here. Take it all out and tuck it out of the way. This is the tensioner pulley. I'm shining the light on it. It has a 14mm bolt on the front. It has extremely tight clearance. I really did have to get this power steering reservoir out of the way in order to do this and get access to this pulley down here. And the reservoir needs to be out anyway to get the alternator out. So I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. So there you can see the belt is undone, and I've left it in position on all the other pulleys. Now we can see more or less clearly the 3 bolts. There is this right here, okay, and then there's one right in there, right there, and then the bottom one is right there. This alternator really does seem like it does not want to come out. So here is the tip that makes this entire video worthwhile. In order to create just an extra little bit of clearance, I took this floor jack, put it down here right under the floor pan, oil pan with a little block of wood, of course, and just lift it up. All it took was about 1/2 inch. And with the 1/2 inch extra clearance, this alternator came free. This is the new alternator with the old alternator side by side. This old alternator was completely logged with oil from a leaking valve cover, and this is probably what led to its intermittent failure. And the replacement alternator that I'm using is a Denso, and I will put a link to this item in the video description. And here's another tip that makes it worth the price of admission for this video. This belt can be very, very tight to get on, and there's really no room to get any socket type of tool onto the tensioner pulley right here. So what I've done is I've taken this a piece of square stock. It's actually left over from a roof rack, old roof rack, and I fitted it right onto a little 14mm box wrench. Here it is, just like that. And I did pound this a little bit to flatten it so this can go in, and so this gives me a little bit more leverage so I can push the tensioner back all the way. And believe me, you do need every single fraction of a millimeter in order to get this tight belt back on. Also, make sure that you tighten this bottom bolt of the alternator that you see right back there before you put on the belt, because once you put on the belt, the access to this bolt becomes very difficult because the tensioner is in the way. Finally, make sure both visually and by touch that your belt is well aligned over all the pulleys. because if it is not, then something very bad could happen when you start the car. And finally, it was not until after I had the alternator installed that I realized that the stud on this new alternator is a larger diameter than the old one, and this I terminal will not fit on it. So this is my solution: a metal drill bit, clamp the end of the cable down very tightly onto this piece of wood, and enlarge the hole. Okay, so it's running, it's purring like a kitten, the belts are running good. I'm going to call this repair a success. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below.